This is an atrocity to Star Wars in my opinion. This is one of the worst things I've seen since Obi-Wan Kenobi and Book of Boba Fett, and I'm absolutely disgusted.
Welcome to a galaxy far, far away. Here at the Cantina Podcast, we provide top shelf service, including rumors, leaks, news, and reviews. Come in, order a Loman Ale, and remember, no droids allowed.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cantina here on the Genreverse YouTube channel and Genreverse Podcast Network, available on all your favorite podcast apps. Just look up the Genreverse, and there we are. Stuff for Star Wars, like this show, the Cantina. Stuff for Marvel, like Marvel Multiverse Mayhem. Anime with AVR, AVR Squared, Daily Cog, and Breaking Geek Radio, picking up pretty much all of that and more. Whatever the hell they want to talk about, we want to talk about, however you want to word it. I'm Kyle. The still frame image is Cam, and we're here to do our Mandalorian episode 6 review. I'll keep the spoiler free review fairly short. This is incredibly cartoony. Some of the absolute flimsiest cartoon like story, some absolutely George Lucas level atrocious dialogue, some of the worst delivery since the prequel movies, as far as dialogue lines being delivered on screen, things ranging from just sheer cartoony, silly, just not the quality of what we would come to expect, to soap opera, to just absolutely stupid, immature, a crap ton of awful choices of how they tried to humanize robots. And I'm not necessarily against humanizing droids, because that's something that happened in Star Wars repeatedly. But the method here, this is an atrocity to Star Wars in my opinion. This is one of the worst things I've seen since Obi-Wan Kenobi and Book of Boba Fett, and I'm absolutely disgusted. It gets a frickin' D from me. There's my spoiler free review. Cam, how about you?
Well, I was slightly more generous than you in terms of that. I gave it a C. I didn't hate the episode the way you did. There was definitely a lot of aspects that I did not like, and I felt it was really just a filler episode, as if it was just put in there to waste time. Least
of its problems,
because really only the last 10 minutes of it had any kind of relevance to the overarching plot that's been going on this season. I like those 10 minutes, but the show, without giving any spoilers, is kind of bookended. If you like, it's like there's a cold open, there's a part at the end which is relevant to the ongoing story, and in the middle there's just this story which has no relevance to anything. It's just a Din and Bo go on an adventure type story. It really isn't any more complicated than that. And I think where you're talking about sort of cartoony, yeah, this kind of did remind me a little bit of the kind of filler plot we would sometimes see in the cartoon.
I'm talking the actual execution is like a
live
action cartoon.
I know what you mean. It wasn't that complicated, It was fairly straightforward, fairly safe all the time. I think I'm more critical of the cold open than I am of the central story, because that's where things were worse for me. It just felt like it wasn't needed. That's where the dialogue was worse. That felt the worst part of it to me. Once the kind of main story started, I found myself enjoying parts of it more than I thought I would as it kicked off, because I thought it was a reasonably okay story in terms of getting to see Bo-Katan and Din sort of team up a little bit. There was some cameos in there which I thought I was going to hate. I didn't really mind them in the end, so not as critical as you, definitely, but certainly I would have to say probably the least favourite, the worst episode of this season so far. But more criminal for me was just that it had almost no relevance as well. So,
and I tell you, I think watching all the cartoons is addling your brain,
maybe, because
man.
I like
You're starting to accept things in Star Wars that and maybe it's not even having like the cartoons. Maybe there's something in the water. I don't know, but it's not hitting me. It's not hitting me at all, and I'm seriously upset at it. So let's get into our spoilers discussions.
So far, so
I have been, and that to me is the biggest problem. Is this isn't like a brand new project that I'm coming into, and it's not for me. You know what I'm saying? I get that. That's fine. That's the Bad Batch. Wasn't for me. I've never badmouthed Bad Batch other than jokingly or saying, it's cartoony. It's not for me, and that's okay. I'm not asking it. I don't need it to change to be for me. What pisses me off though is that Mandalorian was already something. It was already an all ages general Star Wars affair. Had a foot in kind of the sillier cartoon side of things every now and then, and a foot in the good hard feel of Empire and the better parts of Jedi and Hope. It was bridging that kind of gap between Gen X and millennial fans or older millennial fans and the younger millennial Gen Z fans, and it was doing well. And then this season, time after time, episode after episode, segment after freaking
the only
segment.
One that's been different is that one episode we both rated quite highly, though.
That
one
was pretty decent.
It was a bit more mature, and
and everyone hated it, and everyone freaking pissed all over it. Right. But time after time, episode after episode, we're dealing with these juvenile, very, very, very cartoony like situations, line deliveries, freaking costume choices, the utter ridiculousness of Jack Black and what is it, Lizzo or Liza, whatever's Lizzo. Character. It's so fucking cartoony though, man. It's not Star Wars anymore. It is the Clone Wars and Rebels. It's not OT. It's as bad, if not worse, than the freaking prequel trilogy, Jar Jar stepping in Dookie shit. It is so freaking childish. There is nothing in that scene, man.
Calm down, man.
I am so angry.
What's childish about the Jack Black and Lizzo thing? I don't quite get that so much. They live in a society. They explain the kind of way they are.
Oh my god, dude! We literally have an entire genre of royal historical pieces. We have an entire genre of fantasy that deals with people that are the exact same way, and there's a way to show that type of decadence and disconnectivity from your people. There's a way to show it of that lavishness without it seeming so freaking childish.
Yeah, but I think they were trying to show that they were actually decent people trying to do the right thing by their people. And that when we do get to see the droids from their side of view, we get the feeling it's not as if this is a droid rebellion. My major criticism of that whole section was that I felt as if we were coming to an interesting conclusion to it, and we didn't come to an interesting conclusion with it. The answer was if we were watching an Agatha Christie and we were building up, if it had been built up to a mystery and some sort of deeper impact, like there was something a bit darker going on, that would have worked better for me. But the kind of way it ended was just like, oh, that's it, that's who it was, and that person's captured now. Bad Christopher Lloyd. Let's move on. It didn't, because that was what my main criticism was, that the ending of it didn't carry any weight. So I didn't get to see if they had turned around and it had been their practices, something they had done which had caused this, they had been shaving money for somewhere. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Where everything didn't look as squeaky clean. Not necessarily that they were, but this is getting into adult drama. I'm talking about where people have, conflicting,
I didn't even
motivations
need it to be
and all that
deep.
sort of stuff. And it didn't even need to be that deep. You're right, but there's no. And then this is where I do agree with you in the cartoony nature of it. Because of the way it all concluded, there was no depth for it. It just felt like we need to waste 30 minutes. Let's give Din and Bo-Katan something to do. For
Every
30 minutes,
time
that's all it was.
Every time they were on screen, it felt like even though the Mandalorians are there, and there's other humanoid beings there for them to act with and to, they played like not extras, but guests on the Muppet Show. That's how they played. It was very overacted, dramatic. That's what made it so freaking cartoony, and I hate it.
It was Bryce Dallas Howard that directed this one.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. Who wrote it?
Who's done some? Who wrote it with Favreau? He wrote
exactly.
He pretty much
all of them, and that's again, that gets back to my biggest freaking problem is this isn't what it was. It was.
I don't think the script so far for season 3 has been as good quality. That I can see the machinations in season 3. That's my problem. I can see the parts where I can see where the stories went, where they've padded it out a little bit, the kind of issues that and I can see, they've brought this in to deal with this because they had to get this from point A to point B, little things like that. And when you can see the machinations of the script, it loses a bit of magic for me sometimes. So I don't think it has been as well written season 3, and I wonder if it's because they really didn't have an idea to begin with about where the story was going to go.
It sure doesn't seem like it. It sure doesn't seem.
It wasn't intended to be the way it is, because it feels almost like season 3 almost feels like a rush script-wise to me.
And they had time. They had time.
So, maybe it is just that they're holding too much back in season 3, and then everything's going to kick off in season 4. Because I feel like we're maybe doing a 2-season through line, like we were with the first 2 seasons again. And there were a lot of issues in season 1, if you remember. We just filler for no reason until we kind of got to the end. I kind of feel that's where we are with season 3.
Then Filoni and Favreau are being really crappy showrunners by not knowing how to better divide up their story.
I would rather have just one less story, for example.
7 episodes. Who cares?
Why does it have to be? If the story was 7, they really could have just chopped this week out and you miss nothing from the story whatsoever.
And you don't upset me so much.
They could just have had the cold open be shorter, right? It just needs to be shorter and sharper. All you need to do is show what the other Mandos are doing at that time. That's all you need. You don't need the whole love story pish that's going on at the same time.
And that lovey-dovey sappy stuff fed through Jack Black and what's her name, Lizzo. I'm telling you,
they didn't bother me as much as you.
And that acting, the acting, so overacted, so childish, and something that really, really upset me, man. And this, I guess, will go into some technical stuff. George Lucas, at least with his aliens, made a point of not everyone will speak basic, and even those that do, their anatomy can mess with it some, right? So you tell me why these calamari and some alternative Quarren type creature, you tell me why one with a beak and teeth, no lips whatsoever, speaking perfectly clear basic, including ba, pa, things that you really do need some lips for. And the Mon Cal has no kind of bubbly, my flips are not perfect. They don't care.
It's hard to say with a Quarian because we've never really seen many live action Quarian. So it's like, but
the anatomy is not there for it.
I know, but if they were canonized as speaking basic all the way through, you wouldn't care about it.
Then there should be some click for the beak or something.
Kinda, as if as you say, that as if the physiology affects it. So they're speaking basic, but they're a species that's supposed to speak underwater, so they have this gurgly sound.
And also their lips are more flappy, and they're not going to make
just a human.
Just a human. And even the mouthing was no better.
I didn't mind the Quarians other than because the rest of them were fine that were on the ship. It was just that captain. I even liked the design of like how she was a captain and she got to stay in water. You know,
that was fine. No issues with the look.
There was lots of little nice touches of the
look. It's literally just the speaking.
Yeah.
And it could have been as simple as some click. Oh, and the acting and dialogue.
Honestly,
my
that's
God.
What I don't get. Why have the whole love story thing? Why
I don't know.
Why not just like, you've got something we need. You know,
it was so soap opera.
You see them come onto the ship and they go, "You can have it," and then it goes back again. We just need to know that. I think they were trying to point out they're mercenaries, but they're not evil. I think that was the point Favreau was trying to get across. But what he's tried to do, he's tried to be too creative, and he's thought, right, if you're going to do a cold open should be a story within a story of itself. And he's basically done some ripped off Shakespeare and tried to do some Romeo and Juliet and it was just too grand. It was too ambitious, and he's not pulled it off. It's just as simple as that. It's too ambitious, not pulled off right, not good enough or well enough written, and it just could have chopped 5 minutes off it. And you know, that's being generous, I guess, because you could have also chopped it the next 30 minutes of the show as well and just given us the end, really.
I mean, it's so pointless. And then the other thing that really upset me, that just seemed so dumb, so cartoony. And you Cam, hold on, you're up in that camera. That's the camera for the audience. You Cam, excusing this robot in the morgue business. Bother me. You.
I don't get it. It's like to me, they are having just put it wherever they would put something out the way because they need to study it. You wouldn't take it to a scrapyard, so they've took it to somewhere where they would be able to examine it further. That's all, and it just happened to be a morgue. I don't think they would try to treat it as a dead body.
Do cops sit there and house physical evidence in a local morgue or whatever they have nearby, or do they take it back, or do they take it back? Do they take equipment back to the station and put it in the evidence locker, right?
I get
so they make a whole deal. The whole deal, and just like you said, it wasn't even followed through on, because they're doing this really heavy attempt to make the droids human, right? And you and I know that George Lucas even once talked about how the story of droid slavery was something that, you know, was in his mind, something that was gonna be touched on at some point in the future, right? Yeah. They didn't do that. They made you think that they were, before it turns out that really all they did was get some food poisoning. See, here's the thing, guys, is the robots actually can get reprogrammed by consuming this oil fluid, because we needed a reason to go to a droid bar, and that's the only thing that stuff exists for. And so they get infected, and it allows them to go do bad stuff. But the freaking thing is, dude, though, they if I want fluid from a machine, I unscrew the reservoir cap and I drain the fluid. I don't use a freaking medical droid to stick a needle into the droid's vein and pull out its blood.
They just used the...
Oh my, look at you excusing it!
I never once did it cross my mind that they're trying to make this look like blood. I just never got that.
That's what they're doing. It's a medical droid. He's in cold storage in a morgue.
I know what you're saying.
And they're taking a sample because...
with what you're saying.
And they're looking at cells, man.
Well,
oh my God! On the screen, it's cells, Cam.
I guess they're just trying to explore more about how droids work, which we've never really kind of get into before.
They didn't commit to it. They didn't even commit to that idea.
See, that's where I agree with you. The point is that we could have been getting a dark story.
It still would have been fucking
droid
stupid.
slavery. So if Star Trek had done
Blood.
this story, it would have been how the entire society is built on droid slavery, and that once you take the droid slavery away, it doesn't work, and
Yeah.
you know they have to, and the people have to learn a lesson for themselves. That's the kind of story you would have told in a normal sci-fi story that did this sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you're right that they did just skip that, and it was some old separatist, because separatists are bad, right? You know, he thought Dooku was a good guy, so obviously, guys fucking.
And like I said, even if they continued with the whole robot slavery thing, having robot blood in veins being pulled out and analyzed on a microscope is freaking stupid. It is infinitely juvenile.
It would have made more sense to just
childish.
plug it into a machine.
Plug it into a machine, Cam. It is a machine, right? And like I said, if you
programming or something,
if you really needed a fluid sample, it's a machine. You frickin' pop open the valve.
Yeah,
or you pull out the plug.
Plugged in like a tape deck thing or something, that or hooked an R2 droid up to it, for example, right?
And that,
I'm not saying that would be the right thing. And they investigate the programming, and that is something that's infecting the programming. But this guy in his security position would have access to that anyway. He could be slipping that code in deliberately anyway. So they could have still went down that road, but it was still a stupid idea to go down that road in the first place. Because that guy's not an interest. You know, it's like almost like, we'll put Christopher Lloyd, we'll make him the baddie because, he's agreed to come on. It was actually a crappy role to give him. He just he speaks to them at the start and then goes at the end and goes, all right, you've got me. That's basically all that happens. And I thought, you probably think his was the least offensive, but I thought bringing Christopher Lloyd in and just giving him that to do was boring. To be honest, he's a lot better than that, and I think he deserves a lot more than that, personally. I just the whole thing. He could have been just to give you an example, right? This just shows you how.
Could have made him a droid for all I care. Could have made him an Ugnon.
You can brainstorm better ideas than what is in this episode just off the top of your head. They could have made him somehow sympathetic to droids.
And so we've said that, for example, several times.
He hates the way droids are. This is the society. Everyone's built in droids, and he thinks it's wrong. He thinks they need to go back to doing things for himself. He doesn't think it's fair that the droids are treated this way. So he's been doing it to get them to stop using the droids, to save the droids rather than to hurt the droids. You know what I mean, kind of thing. But at the same time, you've got the other side where the droids are saying, we're quite happy to do this, we need to work, what else are we going to do? Do you know what I mean? So actually the humans don't ask very much, and we get to work and live. So, that could have been explored as an overall episode. But to shove it into episode 6 when everything's been going the way it's going and give it just 30 minutes, they didn't have enough time to do any of that, so it just doesn't work.
It was awful. I guess we can talk about Bo-Katan getting the Darksaber and stuff, and the Mando stuff there at the end. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, man. I was so upset by the time that we got there that it was kind of like, hey, Cam and I said that something like that might happen, where she, now that she's seen the mythosaur, could she get the Darksaber or whatever?
So far, it looks like she's going down the light path.
Yeah,
she's got the Darksaber. It doesn't seem as if at the moment she's not had to take it off him, which could have been one of the ways they went. He's given it her, but in a way that they've tried to explain. I knew they were going to do this as soon as I saw them. See, when they do the flashbacks at the start and they showed specifically that he dropped the saber and she picked it up. Never thought about it at the time, but as soon as I saw that, I thought that's how they're going to say that she's it's going to be like the death stick out of Harry Potter, where it's, actually it's now yours, Harry, because you disarmed Draco Malfoy 2 books ago and blah 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 blah. I figured they were kind of going to go down that route. I'm not that much a fan of it. I'll tell you why. It's not that I hate it, Kel. It's that there was the chance for more drama there. Because especially if they're trying to I don't know if they're trying to make Din and Bo-Katan into like a potential couple. I'm not against it if that's the way they go, but if they don't go that way, I don't care either.
Potential.
I'm just not bothered either way, but it could work. And if they were doing that, what would be an interesting story would be if they become romantically involved, but they've got this thing between them, with the Darksaber and who controls it and all that sort of stuff. Whereas it kind of seems to me like they've went for the easier option of Bo-Katan was always a good person. She's buggered up a bit in the past. She kind of does deserve to get the Darksaber, and she's in charge of Mandalore now, and we're going to follow that process forward. We always knew that was a possibility that it went that way. All I'm saying is it was just a bit easy. Does that make sense? And we could have milked a bit more drama out at first before we got there. Maybe I'm doing it an injustice and things are going to go, you know, for want of a better term, we would say this in Scotland, I don't know how it would translate in America, tits up, which means things just go bad, you know. Things
go to shit, things go to hell. Yeah.
And that could still happen. We could get some twists and turns, and we could get left in a down area. Cliffhanger, who knows, going into sort of season 4. There's still a lot of possibilities, but for the moment, I just think easy options this season all the time.
It just feels so disappointing, and like I said again and again, I can't express enough. Like I get it. Not everything's gonna be for me. Trust me, and I'm okay with that. I got a lot to watch. I've got 3 brand new anime that we will be reacting to here on the channel starting this week and next week, plus stuff that I'm watching not even for review or reaction. Live action, animation. I'm good. I got it. Not everything. It sucks. I would love to enjoy more new Star Wars, more new Marvel and DC. It sucks that more and more stuff isn't being made accessible for everyone, and it's being made for people that are either 12 or just enjoy the same stuff same style. Not even the same stuff, because I still enjoy Ninja Turtles from when I was 8, 7, 6, whatever. But I also enjoy things that are my age and more mature versions of the Ninja Turtles. And there is more mature Star Wars and Marvel out there that people that can grow into it, and they're not. I got it, but damn, it sucks when they change it.
When it went darker, you know, darker Star Wars has always been where I've, you know, enjoyed it the most, the darker stuff, to be honest. But
even when I was younger,
moments of joy when the good things happen, you know, as well, because sometimes you need the dark to really enjoy the light. And another franchise, I may look at it differently. And looking at Harry Potter, it's just because it's a more childish franchise, I kind of like the childishness of it all, and the craziness of it.
I don't mind it, because that's what it was.
I prefer when Star Trek goes dark or really morally strong, you know, Star Trek. But for example, some recent seasons have just went a bit too cartoony as well. But then they've brought it back most recently again, and they've actually started putting out a lot better stuff. So it's just going to be personal taste, and unfortunately this is the problem, Kel, that when you look online, you said it earlier on, our favourite episode this season, when you look online, was a lot of people's least favourite episode. This episode a lot of people loved because of the zaniness of it all. And I didn't hear it as much as you, as I said. I gave it a C, you gave it a D. That's quite a difference, really, even though they're both low grades. But I didn't hear it, but I would never think about going out and watching it again. You know,
never.
I just wasn't as angry about it as you were. I guess I could tell, this wasn't so good an episode, I'll move on. That was kind of my whole process, whereas you were kind of like...
We shouldn't have to move on, though, Cam. That's the point, is there's more that we need to move...
But
you know, we still shouldn't have to. You know what I'm saying? Like, we shouldn't feel like I shouldn't have so much stuff that it's like, I'll skip that one. I'll skip this episode. I'll skip that movie. I'll skip this season. Because as of right now, I don't have any reason to skip, or I don't have any reason to watch season 3 ever again.
Yeah, I mean, I get
we
that,
are 6 of 8 episodes in, and I won't watch clips of this season ever again. I
mean, the finale could still be good, and you might say, I'll watch the finale of season 3 again. Maybe. I don't know. I get it, but I wouldn't rush it to watch season 3 again. I agree with you there. I'm kind of the same as I'd watch the start and the end of season 1. I liked season 2 all over, so I'd watch all of that. This one, depending on how the end goes, I'd probably watch the Mandalore episode, the
2.5.
Yeah, like the certain ones that are triggered. You know, you could almost cut out so many episodes of Mandalorian.
Your own machete order for the
and I get what
Mandalorian.
you mean, that maybe we shouldn't have to do that, but I think that's just. And if we look at 3 seasons of Mando, only the second season has been consistently solid all the way through. I think. The first season had
season
a lot
one's
of these
not
issues as well.
Not as bad, and at least it wasn't cartoony. At least it wasn't cartoony. At least it wasn't cartoony.
I disagree when it comes to the bounty hunter episodes in the desert.
That was bad.
I thought that was cartoony as hell.
Oh yeah, and I even talked about his shitty acting and stuff like that.
One, because that felt to me like just some random filler episode. Like
it was a complete waste of time.
In the middle of the Clone Wars, lands in a village, and it just felt like that. So,
but it wasn't. It wasn't
overall,
cartoony.
I think
it wasn't a soap opera.
Well, I don't know if I would agree with that, because I really didn't like them. I mean, I really didn't like those two.
I think you and I look at cartoony as two different things, because these episodes are awooga, haha, fast, silly, stupid stuff, cartoony, while you're thinking of cartoony as in maturity level. I'm talking about actual freaking style, man.
A bit slightly different things, but I just, I guess what I'm trying to say is that overall with Mando, I think it's going to be one of those shows that's going to have some shit moments that you just ignore, and some really good moments that actually are very cool and you want to talk about. And I think it's just going to be a show like that. It's the quality's not going to remain as consistent all the way through as it did in season 2, unless we maybe get every second seasons like that again, because they do that, because of the way they structure the story.
Then I won't watch season 5.
I mean, that's fair enough. If it doesn't excite you, if it doesn't. If you weren't enjoying season 4, why watch season 5?
I don't like this. Like, I don't want to be. Trust me, guys. Go check out the Daily Cup of Genre episode for today, Thursday the 5th, April 5th. We talk about the Harry Potter TV series and the very, very likely future controversies of casting the big 3, and also J.K. Rowling and her comments, and is it really that crazy to say biological women should have a homeless or abuse shelter without biological men? Not that trans women shouldn't have a homeless shelter or abuse shelter, just that biological women, if they feel uncomfortable, should have a space. Is that really that crazy? So
I'm not even getting into all that, but
yeah, we go into that. I'm not. And I could do drama tubing, but I don't. Every now and then we'll do some hot takes on Daily Cog, but I am so angry and disappointed because I don't want this to be bad. I don't want to complain. The Cantina doesn't get watched that much, and we appreciate every single one of you that watch and listen to it. Thank you wholheartedly. Mean it.
Who knows? Maybe they watch it because you rage it at those ones that watch it. Maybe last week they were like, I was getting angry again. This is brilliant.
I could probably make a push to be one of those Star Wars. I don't want to, because I don't want it to be bad. I don't want to be disappointed. I want to be happy. I want to enjoy it, and I don't even have to enjoy it all. Not everything's going to be for me. I would love a more mature, and I don't mean adult. I mean Andors, just more mature.
More Andors.
Well, no, even animated stuff.
I would agree with that, because I like the animated stuff when it goes that, and actually it can go that, but they fill it with too much twee rubbish at the same time. It's kind of like this Mandalorian season. It's like, just get to the good stuff sometimes,
Just
the Andy Batch was really quite good, but it had been so bad up to that point that,
So I'm open, guys. I want it to be. I don't want to hate everything. I really don't. I want to talk more positive. That's been probably one of the biggest reasons why I've dove so deep into anime, is I can find so many of them that just make me happy, where I'm not like this, and I don't want to be like this. That's why there's not a whole bunch of this content. That content drives clicks, man. You know, nothing sells more than lying to your audience about Kathleen Kennedy being fired for five years. Nothing drives audiences more than that, and anger drama too. Yeah. But when I'm angry, I'm angry. When I'm upset, I'm upset, and I'll show that. But I don't want to be. I don't want to be.
We're just Star Wars fans that talk about exactly how we feel about any Star Wars project that's out at that time, and we do often agree. But we quite, as this week, we don't always agree, or we don't have the same level, you know, for things.
Some of us are getting too much or too little fluoride or something. I don't know what it is, but you're losing it, Cam.
Well, I thought you were losing it, some of the parts you liked in The Last Jedi, so, you know.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
We could, you know, that's that. The point is, we all have even slightly different opinions, even when we feel largely aligned, you know.
Yep. We're definitely aligned on how underrated Return of the Jedi is, though. You guys sleep on that movie. Oh my gosh.
It's really the only bad side. It's the Ewoks.
Ewoks, man. And if it had been,
first get cartoony, and it's when we first started going, and every time it does go that way, it's not for me. I must admit, you know, I'm with you on that. I like it a bit more mature. I like it a little bit darker, but you know, I just don't think we're going to get that on a consistent basis from Star Wars anymore. So
it sucks. Anyways, we're gonna have to not talk about them. There really wasn't a whole bunch of news, anyways. Donald Glover. I almost said Danny Glover, another actor. Donald Glover mentioned that Lando they're still talking about it, and then there was some announcements for some directors from Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, a couple more names for Skeleton Crew, which are unconfirmed, but you know, you can find the details on the site, but nothing too exciting that's worth talking about. And basically, Donald Glover had just said, cut a long story short, for me, what he was saying was, you know, I don't need to do this. So, you know, you're going to have to come up with a really good show to get me interested. And if you do, I'm quite happy to play Lando again. But kind of the ball's in Lucasfilm's court on that front. And that's the way I read it. So, you know, it's still active, but it's up to them to produce a decent script that he goes, I want to make this.
So you guys can find all of the Star Wars news stories. Cam's written review for Mando season 3 episode 6 should be out now. Yeah, there it is right there. I just had to refresh the browser. All of our reviews, news shows like Breaking Geek Radio and the Daily Cog, anime reactions and reviews, Marvel stuff, all here on the Genreverse YouTube channel. Check it out, subscribe, check out our playlist. It's like the easiest way to consume our content. Each podcast gets its own playlist. Each series has its own playlist. So The Mandalorian season 3, Mandalorian reviews right there. Check all of that out. If it's not a reaction video, it'll get an audio upload wherever you get your podcasts from. And of course, Cam already mentioned the website, so did I. So I'm not saying it again. All right. Cam, anything else for the good people out there?
No, just if you think we're absolutely wrong and you want to come and write about why we're wrong, and you're the opposite kind of Star Wars fan for us, we would actually like you to come and put that view across. So give us a shout. If there's anything else you want to write about, please give us a shout. Our details are on screen, and we'd love to give people the opportunity to get their opinions out there, improve their writing skills. So let us know.
Yep. All right, guys. That's it. And until next week, I guess. May the force be with you.